Natural solutions to money, relationships, wellness, and more. Shine a light onto your day and into your life. Power Your Life with Dr. Joanne White.
Hello and welcome to Power Your Life. I'm Joanne White, your host, and my first guest is helping to increase awareness of epilepsy through music with an organization that he started after losing his wife Carolina to sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. Eric Miller is the founder of the Candlelight Concert Series for Epilepsy. Welcome, Eric. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, how did this all begin, the concert and raising awareness?
Well, Carolina passed away as a result of a seizure in 2011, and she was 25 at the time. And she had lived with epilepsy since she was a teenager. We weren't really aware of the risks of it being potentially fatal, so I initially did a sort of a memorial concert in her honor to raise awareness, and that was kind of more of a private event. From that, it grew into an ongoing series, with the intention being to, teach others about, epilepsy and particularly SUDEP, as you mentioned.
And actually, and also to honor Carolina as well.
Right, of course.
Right. So many people don't understand, like you and Carolina were surprised about the sudden death, and many people just aren't aware of that as being something that could happen with a person with epilepsy. What else do people need to be aware of with respect to epilepsy?
Well, I guess the biggest things are, people often think of epilepsy sort of in a limited scope. They think of grand mal tonic-clonic seizures, the convulsion, sort of the big one. But epilepsy is actually a spectrum of neurological disorders, not unlike autism. There's a scale. So there are some that are severe and some that are not as severe. So for instance, Carolina had, in the 6 years that I knew her, she had only had 2 seizures, the second one being fatal. So she didn't have it terribly severely. She took medication, which is funny to say. But
the medication usually controls the
right,
seizures.
in her case, it suppressed her seizures.
Right.
Not everyone's as fortunate. So that's the first thing. And then the second, I guess, biggest misconception is, like first aid wise, we've been taught some misinformation, which is when somebody has a seizure, you're supposed to put like a spoon or something hard in their mouth because they can choke on their tongue, which is horrifically wrong, actually. Your tongue is attached and you can't swallow it. So, in fact, if you put something in or near somebody's mouth, you risk injuring them, right? Or yourself even. So what you're supposed to do is essentially, turn them on their side to make sure their airway is clear because they can choke on vomit or whatever. Keep them comfortable, stay with them, protect them. If they're wearing restrictive clothing, you loosen it. If they're in a bathtub, obviously you keep them above water, that type of thing. Yeah, that's sort of the biggest misconception. Those two things are sort of the spearhead of the messages that I like to deliver.
I think it's really important. Now, when you and I were talking earlier, you were talking statistically about the numbers of people that have epilepsy, and that to me was astounding. So can you share that with our audience?
Sure, I'd love to. Yeah, epilepsy, the statistic is 1 in 10 people have a seizure in their lifetime, and epilepsy is when you have more than one seizure separated by, I think it's 24 hours. And the prevalence for epilepsy is 1 in 26, which is, really high, startling number that I don't think most people are aware of. Hence my work. But just to give you sort of a sense of scale, autism is 1 in 88. Although I think there was a new report that just came out this week that said 1 in 66 or something. It was lower. But even still, it's 2 or 3 times more prevalent than even autism.
Which is amazing, Eric, because people don't know that, and they really don't know how much it's affecting the population. You've done so much more than just the Candlelight series to raise awareness. You scaled Mount Kilimanjaro, and we actually have some footage of that. Let's take a look. And so When you scaled, what was it? Was it by yourself, or were there other people with you? And what was that about?
Well, I originally booked it by myself to reach the summit on the anniversary of her passing. There I'm wearing my purple sneakers. But
So there are other people with you,
right. I picked up a couple of people. We filmed it for a documentary, so I had a cameraman following me the entire time, and met up with some other people in the group, and I was on the summit, on the anniversary of Carolina's passing, and that was, every bit as emotional as you would think it was.
Right, and that was spectacular and also very emotional.
Right, but maybe even more so was the way I did that was I did like a crowdfunding campaign. So people sponsored me to go, parents of children with epilepsy, people who had lost a loved one of their own, and I carried their photos to the summit.
So very quickly, tell us what's up for the Candlelight series. What's next?
Sure. Well, it's ongoing. We've just had a couple of really big names. Ed Kowalczyk of Live, Living Color is playing this week. Upcoming, we have Joan Osborne. Multi-Grammy winning artists. Multi-million selling.
And it's local, but it's also all over the country.
Well, last March we did 50 concerts in 50 states.
Wow, 50 concerts in 50 states. That's incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful.
And for that we had support from like Eric Clapton did a few, Garbage, Colby Calais, a lot of really huge names. And I should also say there's a festival coming up in May.
Okay, where's the festival?
That's in New Jersey. It's called Muses in the Vineyard. And it's a weekend of all like women folk music.
And where is it?
In New Jersey. I don't remember the name of the city off the top of my head.
All right, great. So make sure that we go to that concert, or at least get know where it is and support it in some way.
That'd be great.
Eric, I think what you're doing is really very valuable, teaching people about awareness and enlightening us as to what needs to happen and how we can help people who have epilepsy. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful. Hey,
thank you.
Wonderful.
And thank you for wearing purple. I'm sorry.
Yes, and I love your purple sneakers.
Thank you.
And your shirt. When we come back, Elise Sparky Bridges joins me to talk about how she's helping boost the self-esteem of children and young adults all over the world. Welcome back to Power Your Life. My next guest has started a movement which she hopes will help eradicate bullying and build self-esteem in children and youth and young adults all over the world. Joining us now is Elise Sparky Bridges. She's the founder and the CEO of Difference Makers International and the woman behind the Blue Ribbon Movement. Welcome, Elise. How are you?
I am sensational. Thanks for asking.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So you started this incredible movement that really is changing lives all over, internationally, nationally. What was the motivation behind your movement?
Yeah, I'm 72 years young now, and when I was 37, I was married, very successful. But my husband was a controlling, intimidating person, and I was suicidal. And even though we had all the money in the world and I was very, very successful in my career, I just had nothing, no life left in me. And fortunately, I chose to leave him and get a divorce and step into a world where I could matter and make a difference and bring love to the world. And that's how I started Difference Makers International. I just reached out and said, how can I bring more love to children, parents? It turned out businesses. It turned out churches.
Well,
wherever I went, everybody.
You're doing that,
and
you're doing that, and you're doing an incredible job. What's the response? What's the impact on children and youth, and now you said adults? What's the impact, and what's some of the responses that you hear back from people who've actually been through this blue ribbon ceremony, which we're going to talk about in a few moments?
Most people will say nobody's ever told me that I mattered. Kids will say nobody gives them a voice. They don't get heard or understood or appreciated. I think the main thing is that people do not feel appreciated, respected, and loved everywhere. at every age.
So basically what your movement does, and especially this ceremony that I had the honor of watching, I was watching it on YouTube, but it's so very, very powerful, is it allows people to feel and to hear it from someone else, to feel that they do matter. And so tell us a little bit about this blue ribbon ceremony. It's so moving, not just for the person receiving the blue ribbon, but for everyone who participates in it.
Yes, I created the Who I Am Makes a Difference Blue Ribbon ceremony, and with a team of people, and within 3 months, 35,000 people were honored with this ribbon. Everybody wanted to be honored. And basically, it's a simple 7-step ceremony that I learned that just by looking at somebody and holding that blue ribbon and saying, I have a blue ribbon, and it says, who I am makes a difference, and I want to honor you. And then just tell them, like I told my teachers, my kids' teachers, my neighbors, how much I respected and loved them, and told them specifically what I honored about them. And then I asked them, would they accept my gift of a blue ribbon? And may I have permission to place it on them? Most people never get touched with love. And I placed the ribbon above their heart, and I cheered them on for their dreams, and I gave them 2 extra ribbons to pay it forward.
And you know,
in that moment,
then you give that another ribbon. You give 2 ribbons, actually, from what I saw. One for them to pass it on, and the other one for the next person to pay it forward, as you say, to move it on. So I remember when I was watching it, just watching it and not even being present for the ceremony, how much it touched my heart. So what, Halise, is the biggest secret to raise self-esteem and respect?
The biggest thing that I have found is to be able to hear what a person is saying and just repeat it, rather than to have our point of view about it. Everybody's trying to be heard, to be understood, to be loved just the way they are. And when they have a problem and they talk about it, just to say back, just to say, did I hear what you said? Are you saying that you're feeling sad right now? Rather than don't feel sad, just, move on. Just to listen to them and repeat it without adding any of our own intelligence to it at that moment.
So you're
you're
acknowledging what a person has said, and by doing that, you're also honoring them and respecting their words. A friend of mine the other day, I was upset about something, and I had tears in my eyes, and she said, "Don't cry." And I thought, well, but that's an emotional response that was important for me, and then I heard, "Don't do it." So oftentimes people try to sort of correct you.
Yeah, well, we try to keep that emotion capped, and I say that crying is like going to the bathroom. When you got to go, you got to go.
Right.
Just go ahead. We don't want to suppress any emotion anymore. We understand that emotions are how we interact with each other, and that a smile, an eye contact, a touch or hug really connects people heart to heart. It ignites the human spirit. It creates intelligent thinking. It releases dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin in the body, and it changes people dramatically from being depressed to all of a sudden they rise to the level of their innate greatness in less than a minute when you're appreciated. And you add a blue ribbon to that, and they'll never forget it. They put it on their computers.
It's so very, very powerful. Halise, you're doing a tremendous job, and you're touching people by heart to heart. So thank you so much for all of what you do to change the world. We'll be right back with the founder of Leap Academy University Charter School, Dr. Gloria Vanilla Santiago. Stay tuned. Our next guest has made it her mission to help people become self-reliant through education and professional development. She's the founder of the Leap Academy University Charter School and the director of the Community Leadership Center at Rutgers University. Dr. Santiago talks with me about how to impact young lives and shape future leaders. Welcome, Dr. Santiago.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's really wonderful. I've read so much about what you're doing, not only in Camden, but really sparkling so many people. So what is the model about, this school model for helping empower youth?
Yes, it's a comprehensive model that I developed with a college access center, a family support, as well as ensuring that kids had a place that was safe, and that I changed the conditions for urban children. So, and I started this work because I was really upset with so many kids failing and so many adults not caring about children in public schools. And so I designed it in a way that I created 5 buildings, and so I'm very big on ensuring that the buildings are clean, that the spaces are inviting, and that the children get an opportunity to come there to learn and be taken care of, because these are children that are very, very poor.
Right. And yet each building seems to house something very different, science and technology. So
Yeah, yes.
And they're going up to, I think, age 16, isn't
What
that
I
true?
did was I developed a pipeline from birth, from infancy, all the way to college. It took me about 20 years to do it. I spent 3 years planning and 17 years in the floor, ensuring that the model works. So I do have a STEM academy from birth to college, and then I have a business-focused school with social science, humanities, and all the children have graduated successfully, and all of them have gone to college. A lot of them now are graduating, coming back to the city. Some of them are in law school, graduate school.
So they're actually coming back to infuse their intelligence
Absolutely.
and their energy in the city, which
is what we need.
Right, that's
Yes,
so
yes.
important. What else is important that oftentimes a lot of schools struggle with having parental involvement,
Yes.
and you seem to have the secret to getting
Yes.
families engaged. What's the secret for that?
I was able to engage parents from the very beginning in the planning process, and it was parents who got me excited about this. Because parents were not happy about the quality schooling in the city. So they began to talk to me about designing something different, and I had a lot of support from Governor Flory and Governor Whitman.
Right.
Both of them gave me the endorsements to file a law, and I created a charter law school project, and that allowed me to build it. So I created in each of the schools a parent center where parents are welcome, where parents are respected, but parents are part of the process. And these are very poor parents, so I needed to ensure that they were welcome and that they trusted me, because they didn't trust anyone at the beginning.
So they feel, so the parents feel that their voices are heard and that you're listening to them.
Yes.
And taking some of their ideas.
Yeah.
This book is hot off the press, right?
Absolutely.
It's The Miracle on Cooper Street, and it talks about everything that you've been doing to create this wonderful charter program in Camden and in an inner city. What's your model, not just for the schools, but for building leaders, whether it's youth, whether it's women in the community? What works?
Yeah, what works is if you can get people to become empowered, taking a vision, and following that, communicating that vision to ensure that folks understand it well, engaging a community of people who can become excited about that vision, and then most important, executing that vision. And when you execute, that's where all the challenges come in, but you gotta make sure that you have to hire the right people. You gotta make sure that you put the money where it matters, the children. I mean, and what's missing in the public schools in this country is that children are not the priority. And so for me, the kids come and drive everything. And so we have to be children-centered in whatever it is we do in this kinds of models and projects.
So being child-centered, and how do we empower children and youth, Dr. Santiago?
Oh, let me tell you, they're the easiest to empower because they are, the first thing is children want to be loved. So
Right.
love is an essential ingredient. The second one is you want to make sure that they're safe. And thirdly, you want to make sure that you create conditions for them to learn. So having a safe environment that is clean, providing 3 meals a day, because a lot of these poor children don't have meals.
Right.
And ensuring that the school becomes the community, that becomes a place where they can come there and become innovative.
So are a lot of the teachers from the community?
No, they are from all over the country. I get Teach for America. I have teachers from different colleges, like College of New Jersey, Rutgers. I get people from California, from New York City.
I want to come.
I'm attracting everybody to come here to help me with this incredible project, because it's a pipeline that I'm developing.
Right.
And that pipeline now is what's creating the success. And small classroom size, insurance.
What's the size?
It's about 15 to 20, no more than that.
So that, again,
So
their
small.
voices can be heard, and
Absolutely.
and they're who
It's
they are.
engaging,
Right.
and very engaging, very inviting, and we have uniforms, longer day, longer year, and that's really critical. And the longer day, longer year is important because these children have no places to go after school.
How do you get funding to do all this? Provide the meals?
Quite frankly, if money is not the problem in the public schools. Camden gets $25,000 per child. Charter schools get $13,000. I do this with less money than the traditional public schools, and we pay better salaries to teachers. I do get a lot of supporters that have come to support some of my centers of excellence, like the parent piece and the early learning piece. There's no money for the babies, the 0 to 3.
But that's coming, right?
That's coming, and that's what I'm working on.
Well,
yes.
Given everything that you're doing, I have no doubt that you're going to succeed with finding the funding for that. And I admire all of what you're doing. I think it's a great model, not just for Camden, but nationally and even internationally.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of invitations from the Caribbean, Africa, Australia. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Power Your Life will return in a moment. Ahead, find out what's coming up next week. I'm reminded tonight of the lyrics in Whitney Houston's song, The Greatest Love of All. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty that they possess inside. To teach our children well, we create homes, schools, and communities that are built on love, mutual respect, and compassion. And we fill the people within them with a burning desire to learn and to contribute value to others. Grow the children around you, and also grow the child inside you. That's it for tonight's show on Power Your Life. Next week, she's best known as the adorable Tabitha of the hit show Bewitched. Actress Erin Murphy joins us to talk about life after being a child actress. See you then, and remember that you have the power to power your dreams and power your life.